Okay. I'm going to present about the dietary recommendations in India.
Okay, perfect.
When we say, sorry,
It's
am I audible enough?
No, it's perfect. Yes, perfect. Then try to
Thank you.
keep the schedule. Thank you.
I'm going to link nutrition and diet together because we cannot keep them apart. Saying that, I'm Sridevi Adivi, an independent consultant from India. I worked on WASH programs with WaterAid International, as well as the Public Health, Indian Institute of Public Health for public health programs among the marginalized communities there. So coming to the dietary recommendations, this is the brief of the contents that I would go through today. The Indian food, the staple diet, these are specific aspects that unite the diet and nutrition in India, the population in general. So I have to go through these details in brief at least. So Indian food is most popular in the world, especially because of the color, flavor, aroma, especially our spices are more popular. We use a lot of fresh ingredients, our cooking techniques, and even the multinational food chains are adopting. Now, even the pre-cooked meals have reached the global markets because of Indian population spreading all over the world. That's the main reason, I would say. Now, coming to the staple food in India, the predominant staple food is rice, which is consumed in the south, east, and west. In the north, it's predominantly wheat. In the west, wheat and millets also form the staple food part of this. The popular food items, if you look at these are globally popular. But saying that, I would say these are the food groups that are regularly used in our cooking. South, if you take rice with coconut, tamarind, curry leaves, chilies, the idlis and dosas are very popular. Most of you might know about it. In the east and west, rice in the south tip of the country, we again have the seafood as a staple food. Then the dietary restrictions in India. India is very diverse in a lot of aspects, and an article exploring the Indian culture through food quotes, food in India is an identity marker of caste, class, family, kinship, tribe affiliation, lineage, religiosity, ethnicity. And the geography is also part of it, which has not been mentioned here. We have a lot of religions, a lot of cultures and traditions. Hinduism is the most popular religion. Based on that, we have the vegetarians and non-vegetarians. Among the vegetarians, again, there are communities that do not eat onion or use garlic in their cooking. The non-vegetarians, again, have a subclass where they don't eat beef or pork. Mostly they consume chicken, seafood, and mutton or red meat. Then the Jains, they are the completely strict vegetarians who do not consume onion, garlic, root vegetables, and some fruits. And during monsoon season, they don't even eat green leaf vegetables. So basically, if you go to a meal to a Jain family's house, you would end up eating a snack rather than a dinner which they serve you. That's how good the food there is. The Christians, non-vegetarians, but some communities again don't eat beef or pork. This is based on our tradition, mostly in the south. And then we have the Muslims. This is usual, halal meat and no pork. Then we have Sikhs, which is again a religion in India. The vegetarians and non-vegetarians. Buddhism is gaining popularity, so we have vegetarians and selective non-vegetarians among them. Apart from these, we have the Parsis, Zoroastrians, and a lot of other local communities which have varied kinds of food that they use among their cultures and traditions. Is it going good? Okay. Okay. The current diet and nutrition scenario in India is we are burdened by malnutrition, which is a dual burden of undernutrition and overnutrition. We rank the 107 among the global hunger index. 56% of diseases are linked to nutrition and diet. Then we have the NCDs, diabetes, hypertension, CVDs are growing. even among the younger population. Then the economic instability or inequality contributes the undernutrition, increasing fast food consumption among the younger generation. Then the implementation of nutrition programs have not always been successful enough to reduce the malnourishment. Saying that, I would like to add, it's known that Indian population is the highest on globe. So we have both the younger generation, which is growing, and the older generation, which is also increasing in percentage. So the younger generation is majorly, especially going into the tech sector, prefer eating fast food and consuming alcohol, carbonated drinks more. So that is causing overnutrition or obesity basically in India. These are the malnutrition determinants. Though every country has its own, we have a lot of other issues like unsafe water, lack of proper sanitation. I highlight this because this affects mostly the children and women in the families. Then we have the ignorance. The marginalized communities mostly are ignorant of the healthy diets or the practices of healthy diet or balanced nutrition for the children or for the women in the families. So educating them is also an important aspect that needs to be covered as part of our programs. Unemployment, which is known, the poverty rates are high, then the weak implementation of government programs, inadequate health infrastructure, and investment in that. The younger generation, of course, the lifestyle that is affecting them. The current status is India contributes to a third of the global burden of undernutrition, especially among children. This is caused by inadequate nutrition among pregnant and lactating women. Anemia is most prevalent among the pregnant women. And on the other side of it, if you look at the overweight Indians, the statistics as of 2021 show that even children below 5 are overweight, 3.4%, men 22.9%, and 24% of women are overweight. The nutritional deficiencies, the most prevalent deficiencies are vitamin A, B12, C, D, folate, iron, protein, and iodine. These are all caused by the imbalanced nutrition, diet, physical activity, and income levels. But the folate, iron are mostly found among the pregnant and lactating women. The dietary guidelines for 2024 have been released. The ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, and National Institute of Nutrition together have come up with these guidelines. NIN regularly updates or revises the dietary recommendations based on the nutritional status in the country and the prevalence of the deficiencies. As of 2024, these are the 17 guidelines, variety of foods for balanced diet, which I think is common recommendation globally. Then extra food and healthcare for women during pregnancy and lactation, exclusive breastfeeding for first 6 months and continue till 2 years, which is not really happening because most of the women, younger generation, are working now and they wouldn't even consider exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. So that's an issue that the government is trying to address through various programs, educating them on the benefits of exclusive breastfeeding. Then feeding homemade semi-solid foods for infants from 6 months of age. Our Indian traditional food is completely nutritious, but the younger generation, yeah, I keep repeating the younger generation because we are a population of younger generation, and there are a lot of issues that arise from that. They prefer feeding the babies with the bottled and processed infant foods rather than the traditional foods. Very few households these days feed semi-solid food which is homemade to the infants. Then the diets for children and adolescents is very important. For the marginalized communities, there are programs that provide food in the schools, which play a dual role of promoting education along with nutrition for the children. Then consumption of vegetables and legumes is promoted through these. India again have these lot of promotional activities and initiatives that are implemented throughout the country. So all these recommendations are also promoted through these initiatives. Use of oil and fats in moderation, then good quality proteins and essential amino acids. The protein levels are reducing mostly because good protein levels, mostly because the fitness fad is taken over, and most of the men are now going to the gym, and they prefer the whey protein than the food enabled proteins. So that's one area that needs to be addressed. Then adopting healthy lifestyle to prevent obesity. Physical activity goes along with that. High consumption of salt has to be reduced to prevent blood pressure. Then consumption of safe and clean foods. This is specifically recommended because we have a lot of water bodies that are polluted, and the vegetables and green leaves are grown around these water bodies, which are again polluted. So this recommendation is one of the important guidelines for the total public in general. Then pre-cooking and cooking methods, proper cleaning and traditional cooking methods are promoted. Plenty of water is a common thing. Then minimizing consumption of the processed foods, including nutrient-rich foods for the elderly. This is the latest addition because of the growing elderly population in India. So, which is a good part of this recommendations for 2024. And then reading the information on food labels is also promoted because of the consumption of the processed foods among the generations. Then this is the balanced diet pyramid. This easily educates everybody on what can be eaten. There's no percentage, so it's very easy for common man or a layman to understand what needs to be eaten. And this is the recommended diet is for 2000 kilocalories for an adult, and based on that, this plate has been designed, which consists of 250 grams of cereals, 400 grams of vegetables, 100 grams of fruits, 85 grams pulses, 35 grams nuts, and 27 grams of fat and oils. This is the plate for the day for vegetarians, because we have a major population that are vegetarians. They're not vegans, just lacto-vegetarians. So based on that, this is the plate for the day they arrived, where the total energy is 2000 kilocalories. And this plate is for the non-vegetarians, where they can include chicken and meat. Based on that, again, they arrive at 2000 kilocalories total. We have the nutritional programs that, as I mentioned, has been implemented by the government. But prior to that, the National Food Security Act was implemented in 2013. This came into action to cover most of 2/3 of the population through the public distribution system, providing them the food grains through subsidized mechanism. But this is not working so well because not all income levels are covered. Not even the lower middle income group are covered in this, and most of the recommended foods are unavailable at the PDC centers, which is now being addressed through various women's groups, various social organizations, and so on. So the action is being taken to address that all these recommended foods are available through these centers to the eligible income groups. Then these are some of the nutritional initiatives: Mission Poshan, ICDS, Pradhan Mantri, that's a Prime Minister program, the Midday Meal Scheme, which has been in implementation for more than 3 decades now. Then the adolescent girls, mothers, these are the latest one. All these target mostly the women and the children. This doesn't include men or the elderly. Probably that is one of the aspects the government should consider when implementing the next program. Then food fortification is the easiest way to address the prevalent deficiencies among the general population. So for salt, iron and iodine is included, and this has been very popular in India for more than a decade now. Milk, vitamin A and vitamin D, but this doesn't reach all the income levels because the poor obviously cannot afford this fortified food. Oil, vitamin A and D again. rice, vitamin and minerals. Wheat flour, which is very common, they've added iron, folic acid and B12 to address it specifically to the women. So these are the main aspects of the
Dr. Adivi,
recommendations
please.
in India and the programs that have been implemented in the country. With this,
Dr. Adivi, please try to summarize your presentation.
Sorry?
It's becoming too late for you and for the Spanish attendance. Please try to summarize.
Yes, that's why I completed fast. So any questions or anything to be added?
Okay, thank you.